before filters, before curated feeds, before the obsession with staying young forever. There was Dorian Gray, a young man so beautiful that a painter believed he had captured perfection itself. But when Dorian sees his portrait, flawless and radiant, he realizes something terrifying. It will stay young. He will not. In a moment of vanity and fear, he makes a wish. Let the portrait bear the burden of age. Let it carry the marks of sin. Let it suffer in his place. And somehow it does. From that moment on, Dorian keeps the beauty. The painting keeps the truth. And hidden away from the world, that truth begins to rot. This is not just a story about vanity. It is a story about image, influence, and the cost of separating appearance from reality. The story begins in the studio of Basil Hallward, the artist who paints Dorian's portrait. Basil sees something rare in Dorian: innocence, purity, inspiration. He believes the young man has transformed his art. But another presence enters the room. Lord Henry Wotton, charming, intelligent, cynical. Lord Henry believes life should be devoted to sensation and pleasure. That youth is the only treasure worth protecting. That morality is a social invention meant to restrain desire. Dorian listens carefully. For the first time, he becomes aware that his beauty will fade. And once that thought takes hold, it never leaves him. When the portrait is completed, Dorian feels something unexpected: jealousy. The painting will never age, never wrinkle, never weaken. He will. Overcome with emotion, he makes his reckless wish. If only the portrait would age instead of him. If only it would bear the scars of time and sin. At first, nothing seems to happen. But soon, Dorian will discover that the impossible has become real. Dorian falls in love with a young actress named Sybil Vane. He adores her performances. He loves the illusions she creates on stage. To him, she is art. But when Sybil falls truly in love with Dorian, her acting falters. She can no longer pretend emotion because she is finally feeling it. Dorian is disgusted. He rejects her cruelly. That night, Sybil takes her own life. When Dorian returns home, he notices something altered in the portrait. The mouth is harder. The eyes carry cruelty. His own face remains untouched. The painting has changed for him. The first crack has appeared. Dorian realizes what this means. He can live without consequence. He hides the portrait in a locked room and begins pursuing pleasure without restraint. Years pass. He immerses himself in rare art, music, luxury, and secret indulgences whispered about in London society. Friends are ruined by association with him. Reputations collapse. Lives unravel. Yet Dorian remains young, radiant, untouched by time. Meanwhile, the portrait grows grotesque, wrinkled, twisted, corrupted. It becomes the visible record of his hidden self. Eventually, Basil confronts Dorian. He has heard the rumors. He cannot reconcile them with the young man he once admired. Dorian takes him to the hidden room. He reveals the portrait. Basil is horrified, not just by the ugliness, but by what it represents. He urges Dorian to repent. Instead, Dorian kills him. In that moment, the last connection to his former innocence is destroyed. The portrait becomes even more monstrous. Blood appears on its painted hands. After the murder, Dorian's confidence begins to fracture. He blackmails an acquaintance into disposing of the body. He seeks escape in opium dens and shadowed corners of the city. Sybil's brother, James Vane, hunts him, convinced that Dorian destroyed his sister. For a moment, justice seems close. But Dorian escapes once again. Still young. Still flawless. Outwardly untouched. Inwardly unraveling. Fear replaces pleasure. Eventually, Dorian grows tired of living in anxiety. He convinces himself he can change, that one good action will improve the portrait. But when he looks again, the painting has grown even more distorted. Because his attempt at goodness was not sincere. It was vanity. He wanted the appearance of redemption without the transformation. The portrait reveals the truth. Intent matters. Desperate to free himself from the evidence of his corruption, Dorian makes a final decision. He will destroy the painting. He takes a knife and plunges it into the canvas. A scream echoes through the house. Servants rush upstairs. On the floor lies a withered, hideous old man, stabbed through the heart. On the wall hangs the portrait of Dorian Gray. Young, beautiful, untouched. The image has reclaimed its truth. On the surface, the Picture of Dorian Gray is a gothic story about a magical portrait. Beneath that surface, it is a meditation on image, influence, and moral responsibility. What happens when appearance replaces character? What happens when we separate who we are from how we look? Dorian remains beautiful because he refuses accountability. But the cost of that separation is isolation, paranoia, and destruction. Oscar Wilde's novel feels intensely modern. We live in a culture obsessed with image, with youth, with presentation over substance. Dorian Gray is the fantasy of eternal beauty and the warning that comes with it. You can hide your consequences from the world, but you cannot erase them from yourself.